Sonic Underground Episode 7, The Price of Freedom. I like that title. The heroes move around with Sonia on a bike for some reason once again, and they're all dodging lasers shot by the bounty hunters as airships. My time is briefly wasted by the camera zooming in on Digo's face for way too long. Sonia rides a bike over a fallen tree and gets angry because the mud was splashed on her. So she rides the bike and ends up hanging from a tree by her clothes. She summons her keyboard and shoots pink smoke to confuse the bounty hunters about which direction to drive in, so they crash into the wall. I guess the reason the smoke was pink despite being mere water vapor for the water element was because of her magic. Like, it's coinciding with her pinkness. Well, I hope it's water vapor, because then it'd be a water element, and Manic has the earth element, and Sonic has the air element. I feel bad for her tearing her clothes. Manic says her bike looks awful even though it looks just fine, and it sprays oil at Sonia. She complains about the mud, grit, and oil, saying she's had it with her siblings, and she wants to have a manicure and a massage and stuff like that. I really don't blame her. Why wouldn't you want all that? Why wouldn't she have a hard time adjusting to this kind of life on the run being shoved on her? She lost everything. She used to have a pretty cushy life. Really, I think it would have been fine if Sally was like this. It's more of a flaw to have. I don't feel like it makes her bratty, it just makes her a bit more relatable and realistic. She goes to meet up with a rich girl who used to be a friend of hers, who happily greets her. I thought for a second that she would reject Sonia because she would naturally smell like shit from being with her brothers. Her friend's father is naturally worried about her friend being with a fugitive because they really don't want to get in trouble. Sonia's friend is sympathetic to her because she wants to have a scarf because it reminds her of her mother. She apologizes to her. And then she gives her a watch as a gift, saying that her father had to open up a factory to make money. Something about Robotnik making a lot of money off taxes. Sonia then remembers seeing herself get freed from Robotnik's grip by her mother, but then her mother morphs into Robotnik, so it really was just a bad dream she was having. It's good that she has a bad dream, because it's realistic that she would be negatively affected by her life on the run and stuff. It looked like she was just having a flashback to something that really did happen. We didn't see her fall asleep, did we? She wakes up in a bed and sees a spider robot taking pictures of her briefcase. Was she asleep all night and just now decides to do that and get caught? She says creative design, Mandy, making me wonder if Mandy betrayed her intentionally, and says that it was sending info to Robotnik's intelligence agency, talking to Sonic over a phone she fortunately has. How are their cell phone conversations not being tracked and overheard by Robotnik's goons? That's how cell phones work. They get sent to a satellite and stuff. I mean, they don't have a rotor to make a walkie-talkie of their own that wouldn't be able to be tracked. Sonia then apologizes to Sonic for her earlier behavior way too quickly, and Sonic forgives her. Sonic nags Manic about stealing a polo mallet, and Manic smashes spider robots with it, immediately justifying stealing it because it's a weapon. You should have this for the rest of the show. The brothers get caught in a laser net by robots. A laser net? How does that even work? How would that be solid? Wouldn't they just fall through the electricity? The robots are part of Robotnik's intelligence agency. Sonia climbs up a tree near the net and unties its ropes, sending the net to the ground so she can free her brothers. Manic lockpicks so they can get inside, and Sonic says that Robotnik sells watches dirt cheap, and everyone buys one, and so everyone gets spied on. So Mandy didn't know that the watch she gave Sonia was evil. Her father tries to tell her not to listen to Sonia after calling Sonic and Manic criminals. I mean, they have to be thieves. Manic is sympathetic some more by being mad at her father, because he's not doing the right thing, who justifies that if he had said no to Robotnik, he'd take everything away, and he couldn't do that to his daughter. So, it's not about him being selfish, it's just doing that to his daughter? I find that hard to believe. After his song, Mandy's father complains about Robotnik wanting to rebel against them, And Mandy says that she could cut back on stuff like shopping and manicures just fine, and she wants to live an exciting life of freedom fighting. Her father is suddenly perfectly fine with this, having a complete 180 personality change. I guess because their song magically brainwashed him with the medallions. That was an easy way to solve the conflict. Mandy hasn't shown any flaws so far, but I'm just so in love with the fact that she's a total subversion of the stuck-up rich girl snob that I can forgive it. I really like her so far. She and her father pack up their stuff and run away, packing up their belongings, with Mandy dressed up less impressively for some reason. It'll be annoying if Mandy isn't in every episode with the heroes after this for no good reason, just because status quo. I think it would have been perfectly fine to have a new character, and not just the siblings. She could be like the outsider of the group, because she isn't related to them, but she still hangs out with them. She could be a bit more relatable in that respect. The heroes spend some time with the Watches, probably to destroy them. Did I mention what a brilliant plan of Robotnik's it was to have subtle spying devices for everyone? I think it would be less frustrating if the only reason Mandy and her father lost everything was because of the spying devices seeing Mandy's father hating Robotnik. But even then, he would only hate Robotnik because Sonia would convince him to renounce Robotnik. So either way, it would still be Sonia's fault for showing up.
Just stay out of trouble, okay?
The bounty hunters spot Mandy and her father running away with all the briefcases that they must have super strength to carry away, since there's so much of them. As I expected, the lesson is that they need to leave their material goods behind because they have to run away without them. But Dingo, in the shape of a net thing, captures them anyways. They wouldn't have been able to keep their possessions regardless, though. Fortunately, the heroes show up here to save Mandy just in time. Sonic rolls a briefcase to the bad guys to barrel them over. Mandy's clothes cover Dingo, and she throws her briefcases at them to hurt them as they get handcuffed to each other somehow. That was a clever play on the message because she literally saved the day because of her material goods. She was still leaving them behind though, but it's not implying that they have no worth. Sleek complains about the intelligence robots hogging the glory since they had trapped the heroes in a net and kidnapped them in their airship really easily. An airship that turned out to be a portable roboticizer. It's better for a portable roboticizer to be like this than a tiny ray gun. It makes more sense that way. I guess Sonic flew here thanks to his medallion. If this was Adventures of Sonic, I would have really called bullshit on a Deus Ex Machina lazy ending. Instead, it makes sense. After Sonia says she's waiting, which is totally wrong for the grim tone of the situation, why would she say that like that? Sonic sends the Watches after the robot to crawl around his exterior, which stops them and saves the day for absolutely no reason at all. Sonic was talking like he had reprogrammed the Watches right before he sent them after the guy. How the hell did he do that? He has no engineer with him to reprogram anything. What a forced way to have a creative solution instead of Sonic just spin dashing at the bad guys and freeing Sonia. If Tails was in the show, it would have made sense because Tails would have reprogrammed the robots. And Tails' dynamic with Sonic is a lot stronger than Sonic and Manix because Sonic and Manix are too similar to each other. And Tails is younger than Sonic, so Sonic is raising him and it's sweet. It's good to have at least one continuity without a main character like Tails in it though. I wish they would learn that lesson with Eggman. I'm really relieved that Mandy didn't get roboticized with her father. I was worried that she would be. And that would be a lot more tragic than Cat being roboticized, and some other people being roboticized, as I am, and I'm expected to care. Here, I got attached to Mandy, and they missed a prime opportunity for tragedy. Sonia reassures Mandy that home is where her family is, and it was fine for her to lose her home because she still has her father. How is she not pissed from this? Now that she has to live life on the run because her father decided to stop humoring Robotnik, where are they going to live now? There's no knothole. They can't buy a house. I can only assume that the reason Mandy doesn't become a freedom fighter with the heroes after this in-universe is that she was so terrified when she almost got roboticized by an airship suddenly showing up that she didn't want to risk that ever happening again. She didn't seem to be super traumatized by that happening though. and she did a pretty good job throwing heavy stuff at the bounty hunters to beat them up. Just give her a weapon like Mannix. Just give her a weapon like Mannix, not hammer, and that'd work fine.
I want to be a freedom fighter like Sonia. I want to live life on the run, enemies around every corner. So what should I wear, my pink camouflage gear or the safari suit?
But no, she probably won't show up ever again in the role she was foreshadowing she'd have, because the show wants to stick to the status quo, and seems to have abandoned continuity entirely 4 episodes in, which is weird for a show about bit by bit taking down Robotnik. They kind of need continuity to be satisfying with that. Otherwise, it feels like the hero's making no progress at all. They can have a different villainous plot every episode and still have continuity. I feel sorry for Mandy here. She lost everything with nothing to really gain from it. Her father was right. She shouldn't have let Sonia in, because she ended up making her lose everything because she's a hero. I like that the episode had reality into, with Sonia wanting a break from her life on the run since she's a spoiled rich girl. It was also really sweet that not only does she have an old rich girl friend, but that Brenda's genuinely a good person who gladly accepts her into her home despite her being with poor people and all dirty and stuff. And she even tells her father it's wrong to do what Robotnik says. I was kind of worried that the twist would be that she was evil all along because of the giving her a watch thing. But her father had a good point. He lost everything because he refused to keep making spy watches. It was a brilliant idea of Robotnik to do that, by the way. Just have a way to spy on everyone to see if they're breaking the law and justify properly that he has plot convenient knowledge. And that way, it's a way that nobody knows about and can get around. So I was impressed by Mandy, especially since I already associate the name Mandy with a rich snob girl from Totally Spies. And this Mandy is a brilliant subversion after the stereotypical rich snob blonde guy we saw earlier.
Mandy!
It was sweet that Sonia apologized to her brother so fast for being fed up with them. Though I was pretty confused that she went back on that so fast instead of it lasting most of the episode. I thought she would pull the Manic and spend time without them for a while because she found the place where she belonged more. Her brothers keep teasing her that she doesn't belong with them because she's a pampered rich girl who hates being out in the mud. And the only reason she kind of belongs is because she's related to them. She had more of a reason to have that kind of conflict than Manic did. It was good that they introduced a new villainous team in the form of the special agent robots with their airship. They have incredibly unthreatening voices, speaking in stereotypical monotone. But their designs are cool, and they're really good at capturing the heroes in a net. And I love that there was a dynamic where the bounty hunters are jealous of them hogging the spotlight. I think this was my favorite episode so far. I mean, there was so much positive I had to say about it. The ending kind of fell apart though. It's not explained that maybe the reason the spider robots were magically hypnotized to save the day was that Mandy's father reprogrammed them. All I saw was the heroes fiddling with them with no technology knowledge at all. Did Mandy's father give them something that could reprogram them? Why would spider robots crawling on the exterior of one robot save the day? Why couldn't Sonic have just spin-dashed everything? Okay, I guess it kinda makes sense that the heroes of the song convinced Mandy's father to not humor Robotnik anymore. Because they use magical medallions, they're convincing him with the words of their song, so it's like a argument anyways. And Mandy's father seemed kinda sad and was doing it all to make his daughter happy with a pampered lifestyle rather than being an evil douche. He did dismiss Sonia's brothers as criminals, like a typical bad guy, and was worried about his daughter getting in trouble thanks to the fugitives. And she did! She lost everything! She has to live on the run now! Why doesn't she resent them for that? She lost everything and gained nothing because she probably won't be allowed to be a freedom fighter to have at least that, because status quo! It's better than being roboticized though, which was the tragic end to her arc that I couldn't help but imagine would realistically happen when she was in the airship. If this was the comic, it probably would have happened. But no! Light-hearted TV show! Like Sad AM had that forced lightheartedness problem and Adventures of Sonic had it way too much. Can't there be any show, Sonic, that takes itself a little more seriously? It can still have charming, lighthearted moments, but At least it makes sense that there will be a happy ending because Sonic's medallion was already shown to be able to let him fly. So of course he could get there and save them all. Anyways, yeah, I like Mandy. She has a great design character, and I love that she threw briefcases at the bad guys. This was probably my favorite episode so far, and the first genuinely excellent one because of all the different concepts that I liked. And like, there's no mention of Sonic's mom or trying to find her. I think it would be nice if they had a villainous theme that wasn't in any way affiliated with Robotnik.